I'm happy with. After everything I went through, trying to get a color close to these door panels was a real challenge, and everything looks great. My name's Wayne and welcome back to the channel. Today we're back working on the interior of my car, and today's video I'm really excited about is we're going to get my door panels all prepped for installation, because I've had these door panels for a long time and now it's time to get them all ready. And what that's going to include is getting the emblems transferred over to the new door panels, getting the armrests, all the cups and all those cleaned up in detail, because those are in rough shape on the old door panels. So I have to get all those cleaned up and put on the new ones, put on the armrest, as well as I have to drill the hole for the driver's side remote mirror. So let's get to work. So now we need to take the armrest and the cup and hardware off the door panel, as well as the Cuda emblem. So let's flip this over. Oh boy. Oh, look at that. We're missing two of the screws on the side that hold it all together, but we do have the two that hold the support bracket in. Nice. So now this should come right out as it does. This one's plastic. Christ, interesting. So here's the emblem. There's two nuts here, and it looks like the third one is actually broken or missing there. So I'm just going to use my little adjustable mini wrench down here in the basement. And we're going to get this off real quick. See what kind of condition this is all in. But there we go. Okay, let's take a look. Yep, sure enough. Well, that might just be I think that's a locator pin. So I think there's just nuts on the two larger posts. So yeah, we're good. We'll clean that up and we can reuse that. Okay. So today's Hot Rod Trivia question of the week is, for the 70 through 1974 E-bodies, what year or years could you get the N96 shaker hood option? Think you know the answer? Stick around to the end of the video and I'll let you know. Now thankfully my new armrest from Legendary did come with the new hardware, so we're good there. But this stuff, I'm going to go out in the garage and strip this down, get it cleaned up so I can paint it. I can't put that back on there, so that looks pretty bad. Same with the other one. I already took the other one off. It's out in the garage, and we're going to go out there and clean them up real quick. Alright, so I gotta admit, this stuff is in worse shape than I thought it would be, but I'm not surprised given how a lot of this stuff was on the car that I've come across when I've been working on it, trying to rebuild it. So one of these days I'll get this little sandblaster, but if you see my garage, there's not a lot of space in there. But one day. So anyway, I just cleaned these up with my stripping wheels the best I could. But since they are pretty rough, these little metal bits, I want to hit them with a product that I really love to use. If you've seen a lot of my restoration videos, you've seen where I've used the Eastwood Fast Etch. So it's basically an acid etch. You'll spray on the part once you get the worst stuff off. And we'll go through that process again on these bits. And then we can prime and paint them. So the way you use this product is you want to spray it on, get it fully coated in the liquid, and you want to keep it wet for 30 minutes. You don't want to let it dry. And when it's all done after 30 minutes, or when it has like a full solid gray color to it, you can wipe it off with like a wax and grease remover or acetone. There you go. So I normally will spray it, give it a coat on there, and then like I'll come back and maybe like 10 minutes, keep checking it every 5-10 minutes, make sure it's still looking wet, and make sure you don't get any of the stuff on your hands because it is acid. Should be self-explanatory, but yeah. Now if you're wondering why I'm only doing the 3 pieces and not the other little bucket, well, this one is actually plastic, so it does have a little Chrysler star on it right there. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just assuming it's a reproduction one. So yeah, interesting. So all types of little surprises you'll find in these cars, right? You never know. But all right, it's looking good. Let's take a moment, let this sit, and I'll come back a few times, spray it again, and then I'll follow up with the video wiping it all off. So the parts are looking really good. So it's been 30 minutes, and we're going to come in with some acetone, wipe them down, and then follow that up with the wax and grease remover. All right, so these are all dried up, and you know, they look fantastic. Just like I've used it before, you get really puts a really neat finish on it, and it just turns like that rust to a black, and it just neutralizes the rust, and now it's all good and dry. Like I said, let it dry for a few hours, and I'm going to go put one light coat, a primer, and then a heavier coat, and then we'll be ready for paint after that. All right, so all these parts have dried up real nice, and now we're going to hit them with some color. So everything that I've always seen as far as these brackets color-wise have always been like a silver color. So I'm going to hit them with this Eastwood stainless steel silver I have. I think it'll be a close enough match. That'll look pretty nice, and I won't piss off the purists too much. Then the buckets, those need to be the same interior trim color as the rest of the vehicle, so that's going to be red. And I'm going to stick with the OER red that I did the armrests in. Those look pretty good, and should be a good match for the armrest. So the support brackets and the armrest cups are drying after a couple coats of paint, and they look great right here on the wife's drying rack in the laundry room, which don't worry, she won't mind. So the pro tip is you want to make sure you burn a candle, get rid of any paint odor. But if she does pick up on any paint odor and she asks, were you painting inside the house, Wayne? You can say, no, I was not. And you won't be lying because you didn't. And we all know marriages are built on trust, so never lie. All right, so while those bits are drying, we're gonna go and drill the holes for our emblems in the door panels. Man, I tell you, one of the best tools I picked up this year was this little DeWalt driver. You know, it's meant for drill bits, and I have a case of those, but it also uses these little adapters so you can use sockets, man. And no, it's not one of the big heavy impacts, but it has made such a difference in working on the car on these projects. Don't have to worry about the extension cords, and again, drill bits, sockets, take care of it all. All right, so what we need to do is I'm going to take one of these drill bits over to the old door panel, figure out what size of drill bit we need, and go from there. Let's try 1/4 inch. I think that'll be a good starting point. All right, so I have double checked the hole spacing on the new panels because they do have imprintations on the back. You can see where the little pegs are supposed to be, the holes are, so everything looks really good. So we're gonna commit to those and just, yeah, see how it works out here. Now I did make sure to only have 2 cups of coffee this morning. It's been a while, so yeah, a little nervous to say the least. Let's see if we can do this here. Alright, let's see if these will fit. I'm feeling these are going to be a little small, which is fine. Yeah, definitely a little small. That's fine. We'll go to the next size up. It's a 5/32. Oh, geez. fits. It's pretty tight. It's not bad. Might be able to make it work. All right. All right, have all the hole size good from the emblem, so I'm just going in with my little sharp bladed pocket knife to clean up all the little extra flash before we install the emblem. All right, so the flash is all cleaned up. Now, let's see if we can snap the emblem in place. Should be just right. Nice. No, I did go through, and these are actually the original emblems. I went through and just cleaned them up the best I could. Would have been easy to get repops, but man, there's nothing like original pieces, and I'd much rather have nice originals, and these are actually pretty nice. I want to get them all pushed down and flush. That looks good, and now we're going to flip it over. Put our little nuts on the back side. And, should have a little socket for this, but yeah, I do not. Hear my little hooligan upstairs running around. He's 8.5, so yeah, he has lots of energy. Beauty of youth. Good. All right. All right, look at that. Nice. That looks perfect. All right, so this is the driver's side door. We're gonna go switch over to the passenger, and then we'll have to put the hole for the remote mirror on this one. That one's gonna be a little trickier. That one's a big hole, but there is at least a mark for it in the back that we can follow. So I just finished up the Cuda emblem on the passenger door, and it came out just as nice, fit great. The holes lined up well, so no problems there. So now we're going to switch back over to the driver's side and figure out how we're going to cut that large hole for the remote mirror. There's no mirror, or I should say there's no remote mirror on the passenger side, so we won't have any more cutting on the passenger door. So here's my driver's side door panel, the one I took off the car, and it has the hole for that adjustable mirror, but I was curious about this little QA slot. I went out to the car and looked at the mirror body that comes through the door panel, and I didn't see any reason why it's there, but that slot is outlined on the new door panel as well, so let's take a look at that. Alright, so you can see it's outlined on there as well. Maybe it's a different style of mirror that's optional. I'm really not sure, but I double checked twice on the body that comes through the hole, the threaded piece, and it's round obviously, and then it has a little nut on it, and so the hole measures basically 0.80, and the body, the threaded body, is like 0.75, like 3/4 of an inch. So if I make that hole 0.80, we'll have a little room for a tolerance, but I think I'm just going to leave that QA out of it for now. I don't see a reason why it's there. All right, so cutting this hole out. So I've thought about this one a little bit, and I don't have like a whole saw that diameter to cut that out with, and I don't really want to use a Dremel or any type of a burr. It'll just generate a lot of heat and melt. So I think I'm just going to use my drill bit and make a bunch of holes just on the inside of that mark, which is like 0.80. So as long as I keep it on the inside, then I can come back with like a file or a little blade and clean it all up. But it's the best I can come up with, I guess. So it'll work, but it'll take some time. So let's get to drilling. So after a quick online search, I realized that that keyway is cut out for a special little clip that goes right in front of the assembly that slides through the hole for the remote mirror. So I don't have it, but it is reproduced, so I ordered it. So I'll get it in a couple of days. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that slot for the QA. All right, so this hole came out nice after I added the little T slot. So that bracket should be here in a couple of days and we can see how that fits. So the clip just came in and look at this. I can't believe this is a new part. I mean, all has surface rust already, but man, that's a major disappointment. I mean, it is like the right piece, I guess, and this is the little notch that I had to cut that little keyway slot out for, but I'll clean it up before I put it on there. But man, what a disappointment. Jeez, PJ Classics. Come on, guys. But now we're ready to assemble the door panels. So first thing we're going to do is flip this over. All right, and you're going to want to have the cutout basically facing towards you so we can assemble the cup and the bracket and screw it all together. So here's the support bracket, and these are not right and left specific, so you don't have to worry about getting them mixed up. Now these actual cups are specific to the right and left hand door, so you want to make sure you get the right one on because they have a cutout for the door lock that slides through, so it'll only go on one door. And the armrests, obviously as well, those are specific, and they're normally marked on the bottom, right hand or left hand. Now I did get new hardware, come with these screws, and they all came one length. But I noticed when I was doing my pre-mock-up assembly that the screws that go in, let's see, from the bottom were too long. This threaded hole, I don't know exactly what is in there, but it must be some type of metal insert because I could not get these long screws all the way in. Basically, it would bottom out about halfway. So I tried both of the armrests, the right and left hand. They're both the same way. I could get the long screw to go all the way through on this end, but on the bottom, couldn't do it. So what I did is I took 4 of my screws out to the garage, took a cutoff wheel, cut them in half, and then ground a little point on the grinder with them, and now that worked. But you never know what you're going to run into with aftermarket parts, and that was a little bit of a surprise, but if that's all I have to worry about, that is okay. Now, the other thing I noticed is these clips. Those are on backwards. Not a big deal, but if you're not paying attention or if you're not familiar with these, when you try to put this together, you're going to have problems. So we're going to slide these little clips out and just flip them 180, and then it should be no problem. So here's a close-up of these little, I call them J clips, but the screw goes in the large hole side, and this is the back side. Now the first thing we're going to do to assemble this is we want to put the armrest pad actually in place from the inside. Alright, and what I like to do now is with one hand I like to kind of squeeze it down so you can get the screw hole aligned, and then with your other hand get your screw and get it started into each one of these holes. You don't have to worry about the support bracket or the cup yet. We'll do that next. And you just want to get those nice and snug. You don't need to put a lot of torque on those. Alright, so now we'll do the front screw. Alright, so now the armrest. Alright, so the armrest is in place. Alright, so now what we're going to do is take our cup, and it has a curvature to it, and we'll match that curvature up to the door panel. So the cup is installed. You can see the curvature fits to the curve of the actual armrest handle grab pull area, so it only can go in one way. And the slot in the cup will also match the little curve cutout in the door panel, so you know if it doesn't match up, you have the cup in the wrong door panel. Now we're ready to install the support bracket. Again, the support brackets are not right and left specific, but So you don't have to worry about that. But man, didn't those come out nice? Those things were nasty. So we're going to install these now with our screws. I'm just going to snug that first one up. Let it be in place. And then we'll get the second one started. All right, and now we're going to snug them both down. You don't have to go crazy with those. You don't want them too tight, but now, so this bracket helps locate and keep the cup in place, and the cup will actually float in between the support bracket and the door panel and the actual armrest. Now, what's going to secure it is obviously when we hang the door panel, we'll use our 2 large screws that'll go through the cup and the support bracket into the door. And here's a close-up of how it looks. We have our 2 screws that go right into the side of the armrest, and then the 2 more that come in from the bracket into the bottom of the armrest. And again, like I said, the cup, I mean, it's secure, but it does float and can move and wiggle around in there. And that also allows you to get all your alignment just right when you go to secure it to the door. And that's how it looks. And there's the hole in the keyway I made for the remote mirror. And the holes I drilled out for the Cuda emblem. Everything's looking good. Let's flip it over and take a look. All right, there's my Cuda emblem. It's an original piece as well. I just cleaned it up. And there's our keyway for the mirror. And look at this. Man, I tell you, after I dyed this, it's not a perfect match, but it looks so much better than how it was originally from Legendary Auto. So what my final dyeing combination was, I did a SEM bright red to give it more of that red base to try to match this color. And then on top of that, I did the OER 550 red, because that was actually a little more orangey without that red base to it. So I did a mix of 2, and it's close. It's not perfect, but it's close. And you can see, let me turn the light on. Inside the cup is all done red now, and that looks well. And now we have one more thing I want to do before I call this project pseudo complete. All right, so here are the actual screws that hold the armrest cup to the door. Big, large silver screws. These are not the originals. These are reproductions that I bought. But what I want to do now is sand these up, prime them, and paint them red so it matches. So if I don't, it'll stick out like a sore thumb. A lot of people might not notice it, but I certainly will. And it's just one of those small details that I think will really finish off the job and really make it look nice. So let's do that. Now, if I didn't sand this at all, I'm telling you, the primer and the paint wouldn't have anything to adhere to. It'd flake off and just wouldn't work at all. So we want to get these really scuffed up and take all the shine off of it. We can put some paint on it. So after a couple minutes with some sandpaper and a Scotch-Brite pad, all the shine is off the head of those screws, and we're ready for some primer. All right, so after a coat of primer and a couple coats of color, they look great. So this is going to really finish the job off nice. You won't see those silver heads of the screws down there in the buckets, and that turned out really nice. You know, I'm really happy with how these door panels have came out. Took a little bit of work, had some cleanup to do with the brackets, and I had to modify the hardware a little bit, but overall, they're looking great. Let's take a look. So there's the screws I painted, and here's the passenger door panel, and it looks fantastic. The color match, you know what? I'm happy with. After everything I went through, trying to get a color close to these door panels was a real challenge, but man, everything looks great. These door panels are beautiful. Man, I just cannot wait to get them on, and that's going to happen soon, but not in this video, but it's happening soon. And here's the driver's side door panel with the trim hole for the mirror and the Cuda emblem, armrest. Everything's installed and looking fantastic. So nice. It's going to be such an improvement for the car. I can't wait to get them in. And there you can see the old one behind it. See how much darker it was? Yeah, not right. So as for today, we are one step closer to getting the door panels in the car. We're close, but there's a couple small things I want to do next, and we'll see those in the next few weeks. So the answer to the trivia question is, you can get the N96 shaker hood from 70 and in 1971. Well, that is going to be it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and if you did, please hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. And you know the deal, if you turn on the bell notification, you'll be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.